If you've ever used onboard Wi-Fi on a flight, you're likely familiar with the immediate regret that follows. After entering your payment details and navigating a cumbersome login page, you're left with an internet connection that seems stuck in the 1990s. However, in-flight Wi-Fi is not a recent innovation. Back in 2001, Boeing introduced their Wi-Fi service, dubbed Connection, with an X to give it a futuristic edge. While the service was slow and expensive, it was sufficient in an era before the widespread use of streaming services like YouTube and Netflix, which demand much higher bandwidth. The question remains, why is airplane Wi-Fi so poor, and how does SpaceX plan to improve it? To understand this, we need to delve into the current technology behind in-flight Wi-Fi. Aircraft can connect to the internet using two primary methods: air-to-ground, ATG, communication, and satellite communication. ATG relies on a network of cell towers on the ground, similar to the 4G towers used by mobile phones. However, due to the altitude of the aircraft, the signal strength is significantly weaker, maxing out at around 3 megabits per second, Mbps, compared to the 40 megabits per second typically available from 4G towers on the ground. This limited bandwidth, shared among multiple passengers, inevitably leads to slow speeds. Airlines often overcharge for Wi-Fi to reduce the number of users and alleviate congestion, which explains the high prices and relatively acceptable speeds for the few passengers who opt to use it. Satellite internet, on the other hand, offers a more robust solution. In this method, a ground-based antenna transmits the signal to a geostationary satellite orbiting 36,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The satellite then relays the signal to the aircraft, where it is received by an antenna on the fuselage. These satellites use Ku or Ka-band frequencies, capable of delivering speeds up to 50 to 70 megabits per second. This is a significant improvement over ATG, but the limited number of geostationary satellites means that multiple aircraft and users share the same bandwidth, leading to slower speeds. Enter SpaceX's Starlink. Starlink's constellation of low Earth orbit, LEO, satellites is positioned much closer to Earth, approximately 550 kilometers above the surface, compared to the 36,000 kilometers of geostationary satellites. This proximity significantly reduces signal latency and increases the signal strength. The inverse square law of signal propagation means that the power of a signal decreases with the square of the distance. For example, if a satellite is 100 meters away and you receive a signal power of 100 units, doubling the distance would reduce the signal power to 25 units. This rapid attenuation is a major issue for geostationary satellites, which must compensate with more powerful transmitters and larger antennas. However, the physical constraints of rocket payloads limit the size and power of these components. Starlink's LEO satellites, being much closer, do not face the same limitations. They can provide a stronger signal with smaller, more efficient equipment, thereby increasing the available bandwidth. Moreover, Starlink's low latency is a game-changer for web browsing and streaming. While the latency difference might be measured in milliseconds, it has a substantial impact on the user experience. Web pages load faster because the device can quickly request and receive multiple elements such as images, text, and ads in rapid succession. Let's consider a scenario where the data transmission window is 1,000 kilobytes, KB, and the latency to the satellite is 100 milliseconds, ms. The sender transmits the first 1,000 kilobytes of data, which your device receives in 100 milliseconds. Your device then needs to send an acknowledgement back to the sender, which takes another 100 milliseconds. Only after receiving this acknowledgement can the sender transmit the next 1,000 kilobytes of data, and the process repeats. These small gaps between transmissions accumulate, significantly impacting the overall data transfer rate. Reducing latency, therefore, drastically increases the amount of data that can be transmitted per second. For a geostationary satellite, the round-trip latency is at least 250 milliseconds, whereas Starlink's latency is realistically around 20 milliseconds. If bandwidth were still heavily shared among many users, the increased speed would be of little value. However, with thousands of Starlink satellites orbiting just above the Earth's surface, the demand can be more evenly distributed. This means airplanes won't have to share bandwidth with as many other users, potentially increasing the available bandwidth for a single plane by an order of magnitude. The actual speed of the Wi-Fi is not the only advantage Starlink offers to airliners. Traditional satellite antennas on airliners are large and bulky, requiring physical movement to track satellites. This hump on the fuselage increases drag, raising fuel consumption by about 0.3%. While this may seem minor, over time it can cost an airline millions of dollars. Starlink, on the other hand, uses a phased array antenna, which can direct signals without moving parts. This technology uses constructive and destructive interference to steer radio waves, providing both precision and a reduction in size. The compact nature of phased array antennas, as seen in the Starlink antenna mounted on the side of Starship, not only reduces drag but also takes up less space. During a test flight, SpaceX used Starlink to transmit vehicle data back to engineers, demonstrating the feasibility of real-time data transmission. This capability could extend beyond passenger Wi-Fi to include critical flight data and video feeds. The disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 is a stark reminder of the importance of continuous data transmission. Typically, flight data recorders, located in the aircraft's tail, store vast amounts of information. However, if the aircraft is not found, this data is lost. Although airlines have started sending more data to manufacturers during flights, the amount is still limited. With Starlink's increased bandwidth, each airplane could stream real-time vehicle data and video feeds back to the airline. This could be a game-changer for accident investigations, providing crucial insights into what went wrong during a crash. Despite the cost hurdles and regulatory challenges, SpaceX has already signed deals to provide Wi-Fi for Hawaiian Airlines and JSX Airlines starting next year. This marks a significant step toward a future where passengers can seamlessly stream YouTube videos and play online games while traveling at 900 kilometers per hour. The potential for improved safety, operational efficiency, and passenger experience is vast, making Starlink a compelling solution for the aviation industry. If you have additional insights on this topic to help us enhance future videos, please share in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to support our channel and stay updated on the latest from Universe X. We appreciate every bit of support and look forward to bringing you more quality content.